Welcome in, everyone. It is Wednesday. That means it is time for another episode of What's Bruin. I'm Chris, and Gayle is on the bottom today because we have joining us. What? What's that look for, Gayle?
I'm on the bottom.
I
Why?
don't know. I shifted it around before we started, but then it just threw Dom back up on the top. I don't know.
I don't care.
We've got Dom Tiano joining us again. Dom, it has been far too long since you have joined us, but thank you for gracing us with your presence today, as we have got a lot to go over. How are you? I will start with you, Dom.
I'm great. I'm rested because no grandkids today, so that's why I got time to do this.
Awesome. And Gayle, how are you? I know work is crazy busy because it's tax season for you.
Yeah. It's tax season. It's playoff push for both leagues, and I'm super excited that we've got Dom tonight. I'm so excited that he's not just going to be chatting, but we're actually going to have dialogue.
Yes. We
Oh, I'm
already.
still chatting.
But that's okay. But to be able to actually talk and have the back and forth and the rapport and the debates instead of just pulling Dom's
Yeah.
comments up.
Yes, but we always love the comments when you are with the grandkids. So, but if
Yeah.
there's no grandkids, that means swearing today. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so before we jumped on, news dropped. James Hagens has signed his ELC.
Yep.
Dom, already chatting away there. He's on the ELC, so he can't go back to Providence, which means he has been recalled. Now, Dom, you were telling me that
Kevin
you've
just joined.
seen Lucas Reichel back on the Providence roster.
Yeah, so I was having this conversation yesterday. Um, there was nothing on the Providence transaction page, um, but Lucas Reichel out of nowhere appeared on the Providence Bruins roster and is still there today. Now, it could be as simple as a uh, paper transaction um, in order to switch him to regular recall, because like we were talking about before we went live, is in the last few games they've tried Easymont, they've tried Steves, and they've tried Reichel, and it's just not been good. So the next man up is James Hagens. Um, they don't have to worry about a 23-man roster. They have plenty of cap space, so that's no big deal. So I guess, and the other thing you have to remember is that the Bruins play one of the most difficult systems to learn. Um, I've seen a lot of Bruins fans at each other's throats. Why is he in Providence? He should stay in Providence. Blah 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 blah. Um, he was there to learn the system. He wasn't going to learn it at the NHL level with one or two practices a week. That's why he was down in Providence. This was inevitable. It was going to happen. It wasn't going to happen while they were on a 4-game road trip, but it was going to happen this week. That is the only reason he was in Providence, was to learn that system. But what gets me is the argument that fans have been going back and forth at each other's throats is this: have you been watching him play? You don't watch him play. Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest because I try to get along with everybody, but I've been watching this game for over 55 years. And a lot of people, when they watch a hockey game, when you're trying to learn how is a player developing, what's coming along, we have no idea what we're looking at. We don't. I've had the privilege and the honor of spending time with a couple of hundred different scouts throughout the years, and I kind of know what I'm looking at. So this, you don't watch him play, doesn't really mean anything because a
Well,
lot of
can I
times fans don't know what they're looking at.
I just want to jump into, I think a lot of people were upset that, last year when they traded for the younger players, Mitten and Kusuma, they were immediately thrown into the NHL roster. So I was interested in. And a lot of it is different because they were firing last year. They were out of the playoffs. They weren't making the playoffs. So they could learn on the fly. They had the opportunity to give Hagens the opportunity to go down to Providence, like Reichel, to learn the system and call him up when it was ready. And as like you said, there was no reason to rush it. There was no reason for him to be like Malcolm Celebrini that immediately signed the day after his college career ended because of where the Bruins were.
Yeah, and I think we've all been in
And
on that same page.
if you put Hagens into the lineup,
Sorry,
if you
Dom.
had put him into the lineup right away without knowing the system, you're putting a lot of pressure on the other four guys on the ice because, in all honesty, Hagens would have no idea where to be.
Right.
You run a man-on-man defense for the most part in the D zone. They don't play that at Boston College.
Right.
So the minute he doesn't know where to be, the
Right. And the perfect timing of it is they came home from the four-game road trip. They have 2 full practices before their game on Saturday. So as we were talking off air before we went live, it gives Sturm the opportunity to try him with a couple of different pairs because he's not going to just, he's not going to be the one that is going to be the savior of this team. But they need to find the chemistry with a pair, not just with one people.
Yeah.
right. And you know what I would do, Gayle?
Yes.
I would leave DT and Pasternak together.
Mhm.
We'll get back to you, Chris. Don't worry. Gayle and I are having a
fine.
conversation.
I'm listening. Go
I
ahead.
would do DT and Pasternak together
Mhm.
with Mitten in the middle.
Okay.
Leave the second line. Put Lindholm back with Hagens and Hustadino. Uh, again, not to take a knock on Mitten, but Lindholm knows the system and he's better defensively than Mitten and better on the draws.
Well, the other thing is too is
So
that
my big concern,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
my biggest concern right now is the fourth line.
Well, and the other thing is too is if you put him with Lindholm, you're putting him with a veteran leader, a voice on the ice, as opposed to putting so much pressure on him to have him with Pasternak and Geeky to begin with. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about the fact that in Providence he was playing on the wing. So if he's going to play the wing, the best place for him is to be with a veteran leader, and one of those veteran leaders is Elias Lindholm. It's not Fraser Mitten. It's not Casey Middlestat. It's Elias Lindholm. It's either Elias Lindholm or Pavel Zacha. If you're going to put him with a seasoned center, it has to be either Elias Lindholm or Pavel Zacha, and you're not going to break up Middlestat, Zacha, and Arvidsson.
Not at all. That's been one of the best lines in hockey. Breaking that lineup would just be shooting your lineup in the foot for no reason.
Right.
Don, was there something else you were going to say?
Yeah, let's talk about the fourth line a little bit because we're hoping that Hagens is the answer to the third line. Honestly, what I would do, no bias here, you know me and bias, is for 3 of the last 4 games, I would sit Sean Corrali, rest him for the playoffs, and I would bring Matthew Patra up. Patra between Janot and Kastelik was pretty good when they had the opportunity.
Yeah.
I would have no problems with that. I think that a lot of other Bruins fans would have the problem with Matthew Potter being on a fourth line. But there's no, like, that's one thing about the Bruins is they never put a lot of emphasis on line numbers. It's more, it's the Pasternak line. It's the, you know what I mean? It's not, because it was like that with Bergeron and Krejci. You know, it was never, which one's the top line? Which one's the second line? You know, except for the Merlot line, which everyone knew was the fourth grinding line. You know what I mean? It's always been it's not an emphasis. And it started way back, even with Claude Julien, it was the pairs. And Sturm is doing the same thing. Bruce Cassidy did it. Jim Montgomery did. Everyone's doing it. It's the pairing of two forwards, and it's who's the third one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Patra was great during that call-up. I mean, great might be a little bit strong, but he looks solid in that role, and he's much better suited now for that type of role than he was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He's gotten more used to the physicality. He knows how to absorb those hits, to take care of himself, to be able to get back and stay in the lineup. And obviously, you're just talking about a 2 or 3 game sample size to get through to the playoffs, so he can absolutely give you that. And you know, you're going to be looking at a few guys to join the club as you go into the playoffs anyway. So, you know, he gives you that versatility of someone who can play down the middle, higher in the lineup or lower in the lineup, because you really don't know what's going to happen with Hagens. And I know Kevin asked the question up here. He said he had a couple questions, and obviously we got to a couple of them, but he wants to know if you start Hagens at wing or at center. Obviously, I think we're all in agreement that Hagens should start on the wing because that's what he is familiar with right now. If you need help at center somewhere in the depth chart, would Patra be that first guy that you turn to? And I still think so.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he went to Providence on the wing. That's where they had him start, and that's where they had him learn the game. He spent one period, or maybe it was two, in the middle. I forget which game it was, that Don Sweeney and Adam McQuaid attended. And I think it was so that they could have a look at him, see what it was like in the middle. But the next game, he was right back on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
That's their intention. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
No, and the great thing is that even if he is on the wing, if he's on a line with Lindholm and Husadinov, you have 3 players that can take a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think of this line that Matrix has thrown out there with Geeky, Patra, and Lindholm? I'm not a huge fan of moving Elias Lindholm to the wing just yet. I think maybe eventually he makes that move in his career, but I think right now he is one of your best centers, and that's where you want to keep him. Even if you're not putting him as your top center or your second center because you've got Zaka in that spot, like he still brings significant value at that center position.
Well, and I'm with Dom. I'm not breaking up Geeky and Pasternak heading into the playoffs. I think Geeky and Pasternak need to stay together now and rebuild that chemistry and have that formidable scoring line.
I mean, they're the pair on that line, are they not?
I think when Geeky wasn't coming out of the Olympics with Geeky falling off a little bit, I think that's why they got separated. But then they started to Sturm recognized that he needed to jumpstart Geeky again. There had been too many games to where he was just snake bitten. He just could. I mean, he had some quality chances. He just could not find the back of the net. Last night he found 3. You know.
Yeah, Dom. What were you saying?
Yeah, it's my concern if Hagens comes in and supplies some form of improvement on the third line, then there's 2 areas of concern. One, the power play, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, in a little bit. And two, like I said, the fourth line. I think over more than anything, what Corrali needs is a rest. He's one of a couple of guys that have played in every game, I believe, this season. Um, and it's worn on him. Give him the extended break, get Poitras for 3 of the last 4 games, and have him center the fourth line. Like I said, he centered Jeannot and Kastelik for a couple of games. I think at the time they were the third line, not the fourth,
Yeah.
and they look good together.
Yeah.
So if they look good together as a third line, they would look to get good together as the fourth line. Um, and give Corrali that break because they're going to need a rejuvenated Corrali for the playoffs if they're going to go anywhere.
Right. And the other thing is, too, is if you have Poitras centering Kastelik and Jeannot, you also have Kastelik to take a draw if you need to. If Poitras gets thrown out or
Right.
if Sturm doesn't like the matchup, he can have Kastelik take the draw.
Exactly.
That's one thing about
But that area,
they have a lot of versatility with wingers and centers. They really do have a lot of. It's not like they only have 3 centers down the middle and then 1 fourth center that can play. You know what I mean? Like they have a lot of versatility to move
right.
people to take draws, especially in the defensive zone. Maybe you want Kastelik to take that draw versus Poitras if it's an icing. You know what I mean? You know, maybe it's
Right.
but if you're in the offensive zone, then maybe Poitras gets, the leg up on it. It really, they have that luxury of, they have it with Geeky can take a draw on that top line. Pavel Zacher and Middlestat can take the draws. Lindholm can take draw. Like you have so many players that can step in and take those draws.
Now, Dom,
Yeah.
you were talking about using that line for the next couple games, and I think to add to that is I don't think, I mean, obviously mathematically Boston is not out from the Atlantic race, they're not out from falling out, but the realistic numbers indicate that they're going to be the wild card one team. Like they just need, what is it, I think 2 points now to go their way, or 3 or whatever, and
Yeah.
and they don't even have to
2.
do them themselves. They could be in a playoff spot by the time they take the ice for Saturday's game if things break their way, or maybe they just need a point. So like I don't think the main focus is we've got to win out so we get into the Atlantic and we're third and we have that path. Like I think you just kind of do what you need to do to get your guys set. Like you said, give Corrali a couple days off. Try to get that third line going with Hagens on it. I think if you focus on what you need to do for your own team, you're better off regardless of who you play in that first round. Because when you're on your game as a team, I said it last week to you, Gayle. Yeah, there are some matchups that are better than others, but when this team is on, they can compete with any of the teams they're going to go up against in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Can I give you an interesting stat?
Sure. I love your interesting stats, Dom.
Okay. So everybody refers to a game in the season where something went wrong and said, if only this game ended up differently, or if that game ended up differently. I look at look at it a different way. If you take the Bruins' most extensive losing streak, they had 2 6-game losing streaks. Okay.
Yep.
And their most extensive winning streak, they had a 7-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
That's 19 games, right?
Right.
If you take those 19 games and wipe them off the board, including the winning streak, and have them play 500 hockey in those 19 games, which is below their season average, you know where they would be in the standings?
Wild card 2?
Be a 4-way tie for first place in the Atlantic.
Oh.
Okay then.
So this is what annoys me about Marco Sturm in his press conferences this year. He often refers to games. He did it again yesterday. Where he said, "We know how we have to play. The guys realize it. This is what we have to do to win. It's game 78. Why are we still not doing it?"
Their details were horrible. Their defensive details were awful last
Exactly.
night.
Yeah, but it continues to happen.
That's the concern, is why does it continue to happen? And I know earlier in the year when they were on that 6-7 game losing streak that you were talking about, Dom, like they were dealing with major injuries. I mean, we had Kolyachonok in the lineup, we had Soderstrom in the lineup. Like there, Harris was out, Lindholm was out, McAvoy was out. Like we went 7, 8, 9 deep in our defensive pool. So some mistakes like that were bound to happen. But like you said, it's game 78. Why is it still happening? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, is I think, look, we have a lot of guys that are having career years. Okay. But I also think certain players are tired. They're overexerted. Uh, Corrali again is a classic example. It's time to give these guys a break going into the playoffs. Does Providence need to win their remaining whatever number of games they have? No,
No, they're in.
they don't.
Yeah, they're in.
So why not have Patra?
And if you really need to give a guy a breather on the bottom line, on the fourth line or the third line, I mean, Riley Tufte scored 31 goals for Providence this year. Like, like those are the kind of guys that are they're going to come in and they're going to bring a little of that extra energy that you're looking for as you're approaching games 80, 81, and 82 to get through that last little bit of the regular season. Because let's face it, you really think the guys who have played 78, 79 games, they're not dragging it all? That would be a pick me up for them. Not only do they get a night off, but they get that little injection from some of those guys that are coming up with that excitement for their call.
But the problem is they only have 3 games left. They only have 3 games left, and with 3 games left, and they technically still have not clinched. But I mean, even if Ottawa wins, Ottawa has a game in hand. They've only played 78 games. If Ottawa wins all 4 games, they leap the Bruins. So are they still playing for position?
Well, they can't be playing for position because a lot depends on what happens between Tampa, Montreal, Buffalo, and Carolina.
Yeah, because Tampa, Buffalo, and Montreal are all tied at 102.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no way the Bruins can be playing for position.
I'm talking about
all
wild card
they're
1 or
playing
wild
for
card
is
2.
locking up a play. It doesn't matter. They have no control over who their opponent's going to be.
Right.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, because they can stay exactly where they are and either face one of those 3 teams based on how they finish. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, absolutely no control. So, to give Corrali a week off, I'd be fine with that. You're not hurting Providence in any way.
I'm not saying giving Corrali a night off, but if you're only giving Corrali like those last 3 games, is he the only one they're giving the last 3 games a night off?
No, if Freddie Brunet wasn't injured and I see he was on the ice, so maybe he's getting close, I would give Zadorov or Lindholm a break.
Yeah, he's getting close. I just don't know if that would be time frame wise.
I don't know how close he is.
Yeah, I don't know how close he is either. And as Kenny points out, Providence is not only in the playoffs, but they've locked up their first round bye. So
yeah, I mean, Zadorov has only missed 1 game this year.
Yeah.
And he plays
I
hard
mean,
and
does
heavy.
Lindholm need a break? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
Like, I
giving
mean,
Lindholm some time to, just to refresh. I know that he's on. Are you talking about Elias or Hampus?
Either one.
Hampus.
Yeah,
Or
no, I
either
mean,
one, actually.
I know Hampus missed some time at the beginning of the season, but I could see him taking, get. But what's wrong with putting either Harris or Yokiharu back in to give one of them the night off?
I would put
Honestly, just
Yoki or Harrison to give Peak a break. But you know what? You have a decision to make on Freddie Brunet. I mean, I love the kid from the day they drafted him in the queue, but I still want to see what he can do at the NHL level. Obviously, 3 games isn't going to be enough to judge, but it'll give you an idea.
yeah, because isn't he
At the
pending?
same time, giving your guns, he'll need waivers next year.
That's what it is. Okay, I couldn't
He'll
remember
need
if it was his
waivers next
contract
year.
or if it was waivers. So, um, let's see. Kevin wants to know, when do we have a clinching scenario in the next 3 days? Is there one on Saturday?
They can clinch tomorrow by not even play.
Because if Columbus loses,
If
right?
Columbus, Detroit, and the Islanders lose, the Bruins are in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
One
because they're
game,
the
Kevin.
only ones
One
I
win
think.
by Boston or one loss by them, and they're in. So the Bruins can clinch tomorrow and not even play.
Right.
and that's where like we were talking about, and I know you, I think, had the comment last week, Dom, where we've seen what happens when the team tries to play for a specific opponent. And that's why I'm saying just focus on what you need to do for your guys, what you need to do to be healthy and ready. Have Corrali be perfectly ready to go. Like you said, if he needs a week off, get him that week off. If Zadorov needs a breather, get him that breather. If it's, Hampus Lindholm, get him a breather. Like, just get these guys a night or two off. That way you're playing your game, because the switch is going to flip. It's going to be a brand new season starting in the playoffs, and whether you're playing Carolina, Montreal, Buffalo, or Tampa, you're going to need to take a game on the road, and then you're going to need to win every game at home. And we know they can hang with these teams. It's, will they be able to do it in a 7 game series enough to take that 7 game series? And you need some of your guys. You need your Zadorovs and your Corrales and Jano even. Like, those are the guys that are going to take your biggest beatings in these games. They need to be ready for it physically. And they've just finished a rough regular
And
season.
the other thing to remember too is, yeah, it's a rough regular season in the scheduling, but let's remember, once the playoffs start, ESPN, TNT, and Sportsnet control the schedule.
Yep.
It's all around television right now. So if ESPN needs a 7 p.m. game on Saturday night and a 3 p.m. game the next day, be prepared for it.
Right. I mean, I know that the first round, the RSNs do get majority of the games. But when does, especially for ESPN, when did the basketball playoffs start? Because that's their biggest thing. They won't put hockey above basketball.
Yeah. And real quick, Kenny
No, but
breaking in the comments that Ron Francis has stepped down from his role with the Seattle Kraken
Yeah.
as president of hockey operations.
he was going to get.
I know it's not Bruins related, but it just another front office shakeup. So
Rumor was he was going to get fired anyway. I should apply for that job.
uh, probably know the cap every bit as well as they all do. So probably should. Um, And then Jet Set says that Carolina scares me. How do you guys feel about that matchup if you guys were to see us facing Carolina in the first round? Tom, I'll start with you.
I look at it like this. Record-breaking season, most fans I talk to, and I mean, I would say almost all of them was, give me Florida, give me Florida, give me Florida. I say be careful what you wish for. I don't have any preference. You got to play who's in front of you, whether it's Carolina now or Carolina in the conference finals. You're still going to have to face them. Play who's in front of you and prepare for who's in front of you. I never have a preference.
Every single team that's above them in the standings, they match up against. It's not like any one of those teams in the East blows them out of the water. You know, it depends on, the question is which Bruins team shows up. The Bruins team that pays attention to details and plays their hard, heavy hitting game and protects their goaltender, or the Bruins team that was just on this road trip that was so lackadaisical in their own zone with the turnovers and left their goaltender out to dry.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we've learned from this team is they can score. Like, we've seen enough games this year where they've put up 4, 5, 6 goals on an opposing goaltender, and they've done it against the Vasilevskis of the world. I mean, Brandon Bussey's hitting a wall where, he's getting to a point where he's never played this much hockey in a season. So the longer the series goes, the more he's going to wear down. You've put up points against really good goaltenders. It's just, can you play in a way that's going to keep the puck out of your own net? And we've seen Jeremy Swayman do that single-handedly in series and in the playoffs before. It's just a matter of, is he going to get enough support from the defense to not have 900 high danger chances in the entire series? That's the part that's been burning him. Is he's second in the entire league right now in expected goals against, and yet he's got a really low goals against average. I wonder why that is. Oh, because he's stopping the puck. But maybe if you don't leave him out to dry as much, you have a much better chance to win.
Someone brought it up on one of the social medias, and I don't know if it was Ray Croft, if it was someone else, but someone was bringing up that people are looking at the goals against average and the save percentage, and even though Swayman is above 9 or whatever, that they're like, oh, those numbers are bad. But they're like, no, if you go back and look over the years, the save percentage has gone down because of the quality of shooters and stuff. So Swayman's his numbers aren't as bad as everyone thinks they are, because they're in line. Why did I get a thumbs up? I'm so confused.
I don't know. Don was trying to get the hearts that you do earlier, and he couldn't get that either. So
I can get those. I don't know. Are you on a Mac, Dom?
What's that?
Are you on a Mac?
Oh,
No.
It might be that.
I'm on a Mac.
That might be why.
Well, that explains it.
I need devil horns is what I need.
Let's see. Where was it?
We've missed a lot of questions.
Pittsburgh, Tampa, and Montreal would be very tough series. Yeah, I mean, they're all going to be tough series because they're all playoff teams, but that doesn't mean you can't match up against any of them and actually do well. Finally, someone brought him up. Corpy is good too. People don't give him enough credit. Can we finally say that this team's not in the playoffs without Korpisalo on this roster?
He came in last night and he played phenomenal.
He had some game-saving saves.
He did.
he's had a few games this year where he has saved this team's ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure they're in the playoff position that they're in if he's not your number 2. Just because, I mean, how many people were just trying to throw away
But
games, you know?
Well, where's Kevin with
how many wins does he
if
have?
Swayman gets hurt? Comment.
How many wins does he have?
He has 13 wins.
Right? You don't think another goalie could have given him 13 wins?
Not the 13 that he's gotten you. I think someone like
Well, I
DiPietro
don't know
probably
about
could
that.
have 7, 8, or 9, but there's a handful in there that Korpisalo, he got those for you, and and other goaltenders aren't getting those for you.
I think there's only one game that Korpisalo's really stolen, and you have to go back way back at the start of the season, and that was Chicago.
I think I remember that one.
Convince
Yeah.
me that he's stolen another. Convince me that he's stolen another game.
Well,
I feel sorry for him yesterday because he was so good, yet he gets credited with the loss for yesterday,
yeah, but he helped you
and
get
that was
that
not
point.
on him whatsoever.
He helped
But he
he
was still credited with the loss.
Yeah. And there have been a few of his 9 losses. There have been a few where he's played well enough for you to win. The team themselves just screwed them over.
But you
So,
can say that with Swayman too.
oh,
You could say
absolutely.
You
that
can say
pretty
that
much
about
across
any
the league. Up by Chris. All right,
right,
John,
any
you.
goalie.
Let's go. Oh,
No, I'm back. I'm back. But now it's
Smack
shifted
him,
you to the top.
smack him. Oh, that's okay.
and
I
I
like the bottom.
and I don't know if you caught it earlier, Gayle, but Kevin did throw a little shade by saying that you love talking about Patra.
But he also asked if I could play center. So.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So I'm trying to keep up with him. Kenny says DiPietro should win AHL MVP this season. He's certainly up
Absolutely.
there. He's definitely up there for sure. Let's see. Yes, Swayman had a bad game last night. That is certainly one way to put it. He looked mad, as Jet also points out. I don't think Swayman was all too thrilled about how yesterday went for him or for how his night ended.
But in reality, if we were a season ago, the goaltender would have stayed in. The fact that Sturm knew to pull him is an upgrade right there. How many times last year did we sit there and go, holy shit, when are they going to pull the goaltender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't. You know what I mean? And I know last season is it was last season, but still, what a difference it makes, because you saw it last night. Korpisalo came in, kept them in it. The Bruins were able to tie it and force overtime. So.
Well, Kevin, he can go and play with those crystals as long as he doesn't get hurt.
You didn't say that.
No, I'm saying it to make Gayle, well, be exacerbated like that. Let's see. I'm trying to go back to some of the other ones that we missed. Yeah, there's the slap. Sorry, Steve. I don't think any of are either of you going to be watching the Masters? Because I know I'm not.
No, I mean my father will, but I don't.
Okay, sorry, Steve. We don't have an answer for that one. It's a golf tournament, Dom.
Yeah, I know.
That's kind of
My
where I'm at with it
sarcasm
too.
again.
Sorry, Steve. I know it's. I wish we could give you a better answer than that, but I got nothing for you. Oh, there was the comment back here. I forget who had it. Someone said Ottawa was done.
Oh, I saw that.
I wouldn't count Ottawa out. I mean, they've had some problems lately, and things aren't perfect for them. Here it is, but I certainly wouldn't rule them out. They are a team that they are just as dangerous as you are in the playoffs if they can start to have a few things go their way. So
they play Florida on tomorrow night. And then Saturday they're at the Islanders.
that's the Islanders' first game back with a new head coach.
Sunday, the Islanders play tomorrow night. The Islanders play Toronto tomorrow.
Oh, well, yeah, close enough. It's still another day off.
I would see. Why do you say that when the Bruins just lost to Toronto? They're still professional hockey players, regardless of where they are in the standings. They're still professional hockey players.
I know they were allowed to try.
By you making that comment, you're basically saying that Ottawa's can just go in, or the Islanders are just going to go in and beat Toronto. Well, the Bruins couldn't do it.
I know the other team's allowed to try. Oh, Kevin, Gayle, do you think Poitras could win the Masters if he played?
You know what? Most hockey players are good golfers, so I don't know. Maybe.
Actually, listen, I can answer. I can answer that.
Poitras. I don't hate Matthew Poitras. I actually like Matthew Poitras, and I'd like to see him get his shot truly in a Bruins uniform and not down in Providence. The problem is that we spent nearly 3 hours talking about Matthew Poitras 2 or 3 shows ago. I'm done talking about Matthew Poitras. That's it.
That's all right. I hate Fabian Lysell.
Can I answer his question, though?
Absolutely.
I've golfed with Matthew Poitras. I've golfed with him, and I can tell you he is an excellent, excellent golfer. I can't tell you whether he would win the Masters, but he's an excellent golfer.
I don't see him beating Scotty Scheffler. What's his name? I don't know, but I did hear a joke today. What's the difference? The difference between a golf ball and a Mercedes?
I got nothing. Dom, anything?
Tiger Woods can drive a golf ball 300 yards without hitting a tree. I didn't come up with it. I just saw it.
Okay, can we go back? Because earlier I said we were probably going to end up talking about the power play. So
yes.
2 things about
before we go way off on a tangent.
Kenny wants to go golfing with you and Poitras next time, Dom.
I will, Kenny. Probably this summer if he's back in Ontario. 2 things about the power play. First, the Hagens effect, but we'll get to that last. And second, since we mentioned the Islanders hiring Peter DeBoer, what do you guys have any fear of Steve Spock running back to be his assistant coach? And I say this because the two go back 30 plus years of coaching together and being best friends.
Well, we also have to keep in mind, too, that Vegas could be open at the end of the season as well. There's no saying that Tortorella is going to stay there.
Yeah,
right.
But I think, Dom, you're referring to him just going back to coach with his friend and running their power play in New York, right? You'd have Matthew Schaefer on that power play.
It could happen in the off season, but what's his contract like in Boston?
It doesn't matter. Assistant coaches have an out every assistant coach has an out in their contract if another situation opens up for it. Every assistant coach.
guess it depends on what
I don't think he would do it this soon. Like, he might do it in the off season.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it would happen during the season. I think it could possibly happen in the off season.
No, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hadn't even really thought about it, but the one that I did think about is, and my question to you, I'll start with you on this one, Dom. How worried are you that Boston could lose Evan Gold in one of these general manager searches that's going on?
Um, I wouldn't say I'm worried. I um, I would hate to lose Evan Gold. Um, to a lesser extent, I would hate to lose Jamie Langenberger, but I'd be fine losing him. When you lose somebody like Evan Gold, you're not just losing an assistant GM. Um, you're losing your Providence GM. He was the head of the Bruins legal department. Um, he's he is their CBA. What's the word I'm looking for? Their mastermind. He knows the CBA inside out. So it's not like you're just losing an assistant general manager. He's also a scout. So the man carries several different hats within the organization. So um, I'd have concerns about losing him. You might need to get two people to replace what he does, maybe even three. So um, I have concerns, but I I wouldn't hold it against him for taking a job that probably a better opportunity for him.
Yeah, I'm not saying I would hold it against him or anything. It just I don't hear his name coming up all that much, and I wonder how much of a dark horse can. I mean, some people
His name
just like
actually
to
has come
wait.
up.
I haven't heard it. That's
His
why I was
name has
wondering
come up. So
because
is
some people just
Langenberger's.
want to.
Langenberger's name.
I've heard Langenbrunner's.
Yeah,
I'd heard his.
Langenberger's has come up in Toronto. So was Evan Golds. Now Golds is coming up in Jersey.
Jersey was where I had heard Langenbrunner's name as well. But again, my fear isn't. It's just I feel like they're not given enough consideration, and maybe that's just a thing here down here in the states where those kinds of candidates aren't getting as much discussion because they're still trying to sell the game itself. Um, but yeah, I just thought I'd get your thoughts on that one. Kevin says we can bring back Bruce Cassidy now that DeBrusque is gone, just to annoy you. He's saying this and that we need Cassidy in case Stern gets hurt, and that was to annoy Gayle.
Yeah, that was my
That was your eye roll moment.
yeah.
Kenny says that there's no way they're looking internally at for a power play specialist in New York because Bridgeport's power play is awful. um, let's see.
And he probably shouldn't be, Kenny, to be honest with you. I I hate to say this because I do know that there's at least one person that's within the Bruins organization that is probably watching this right now. If I was to make any change in the organization, from management all the way down to coaching staff, there's one I would make. And you two may hate this idea, uh, but I'd look for a replacement for Jay Leach.
Oh, I have no problems with Jay Leach leaving. I have nothing against him, but I think there are people out there that it would be an upgrade.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't hate the idea of fresh eyes in that position either.
I
Well, to
honestly,
me, the
as much as
defense
I
has
love
been
Chris Kelly, I wouldn't mind moving on from Chris Kelly either. Like, I'm not married to Jay Leach or Chris Kelly.
right. And neither of them were Marco Sturm's guys.
Right. I mean, Chris
I,
Kelly and Marco Sturm played together, but they never coached together.
right.
Steve says if Spot is gone, bring in Mark Savard. I
From
don't
my
think that one's gonna
understanding, though,
happen.
Mark Savard has wanted to come back to Boston in some sort of coaching role since he retired, and the
I
Bruins have never been interested.
I've golfed with Mark Savard twice since then on two different occasions.
Is he a better
I was
golfer than Matt
actually
Poitras? We got to know the
no,
important stuff.
no, and we all know Mark Savard's a very good golfer too, right? I asked him once about returning to Boston to coach in some capacity, and his answer to me was, "I asked them once. I'm not asking them again."
Yeah, I don't see the well.
But maybe it had to do with the head coach at the time too. And maybe if Spot does move on, maybe Sturm does look at a Mark Savard, someone that again he played with,
Yeah,
that could run your power play.
Right.
And I mean, it's a lot different. Sturm is a lot different than what Bruce Cassidy was.
Who else have you golfed with? Let's get Kenny to take a few more of these non-invites
Yeah.
personally. And then Kevin says, Gayle, you're not married to Chris Kelly the way I'm married to Reichel on the third line. Sorry, Dom, go ahead.
I golfed with
Jet.
Campbell.
Sorry, wait, hold on. We have to go. Jet said Bruins better sign Mitten. Where is he right now? Isn't he I thought he was locked up for at least another year. Am I wrong?
He is. No, he is.
Yeah. Mitten, where is it? Yeah, he's an
Mitten is
RFA
an
after next season.
Mitten's an RFA at the end of the 27-28 season. I mean, at the end of next season, he's an RFA.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we can't even start talking extension with him until July 1. So
yeah.
Anyway, Dom, you were saying.
We're talking about golfing.
Oh yeah, no, we were going to get to the power play. Remember?
We were
going to get to the power play, and then this comment that Gayle pointed out brought me to another question. But let's do the power play first, because the person I want to talk to
hold on.
No,
don't blame me. It was Kenny asking about the invites. So
I didn't say it was
talking about.
No. I said this comment brought my brain to another thought that I want to bring up about a different player. But he's on the power play, so we'll talk about him. So, Dom, let's do the power play comment first.
Can I tell a story? Because I know Gayle hasn't heard this one. And I'm sure there's listeners out there that haven't heard this, but others have probably heard it more than once, so apologies to them. Can I tell Gayle and everybody who hasn't heard the Jesse Gabriel story?
Oh, yes. Oh, boy.
Okay, so the Bruins drafted Jesse Gabriel in, I believe it was the third round in 2015.
Oh, God, you have to bring up 2015.
Yeah, this is a good story, trust me. So Jesse Gabriel was one to read social media. He'd go on HF boards and all those sites and read what fans were saying. So his father at the time was a scout for a USHL hockey team. Okay, I don't want to name which one. And oftentimes he would ask me, he said, "Dom, is there any Canadian players in Ontario that you think we should be going after?" And I would talk to him a little bit and blah, 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 blah. So the summer of 2016, I got a call from Jesse's dad. He said, Jesse's playing in the summer league up in Ontario this summer, and we'd like you to come out for a game or two when you have a chance. I said, sure, let me know where you're playing and when. So this is a summer league made up of NHL players. They would just get together, form a league, and play in the summer. Excuse me. So he called me, says, we're playing this such and such. I said, okay, I'll be there. So I went and watched the game, and I swear Jesse was on steroids or something. His arms were bigger than my legs. Like he had put on that much muscle. So after the game, we're sitting there having a beer. Can I swear?
Yeah, your
my
grandson's not
grandson
watching?
with you.
So his father's sitting to my left, Jesse's sitting across from me at the table, and he says, I don't know what the fuck Bruins fans are thinking. I'm a better fucking hockey player than fucking Jake DeBrusk. Why is nobody giving me the fuck a chance to make the team and play with David fucking Krejci? And he was going on like this, and I'm like, I'm looking at his dad, and I'm looking at him, and when he shut his mouth, I knew I had to say something. Like I couldn't just sit there, and I said, well, Jesse, the best you can do is go to training camp and prove them wrong. Never to be, well, he played the next season, yeah, half a season in Providence before running back to the WHL.
That's hilarious.
And then, yeah, because that was, yeah, I pulled it up. And then after that, he had 2 seasons in the ECHL, one in Slovak, and that was it. I'm sorry. He didn't even have a full season in Slovak. It was 4 games.
Sounds like a quality player to me.
I'm all full of stories.
I would listen to your stories all day long.
My personal favorite, Dom, is still the one that got you blocked from, was it the Oshawa Generals? One of
Windsor
the
Spitfires.
the Windsor Spitfires. That's who it was. Yeah, just because you were tweeting out the stuff that they were dumb enough to be working on right in front of you.
Was it when Max Savard was the coach?
No, it was long. It was 2000, 2011. It was trade deadline day.
Oh,
And Bob Bugner was the coach, and he had been suspended because of a bench clearing brawl they had the game before. So the three of them sat. I actually gave up my seat for them in Owen Sound because in their media section they only had 3 seats, right? So I gave up my seat so him and Warren Reichel and their bus driver could sit down because they were on their laptop working on these trades. So I'd be standing beside them and I'd be reading their laptop and I would tweet out the trades. Well, then Bob McKenzie's like, where are you getting all this information from? And I took a picture of them with their computer in front of them and put it out on Twitter. And then the Windsor Spitfires blocked me on Twitter.
I like Kenny's comment about Jesse Gabriel. The steroids must have worn off.
Yeah.
And yes, Dom is an absolute legend. He's got all fantastic stories. We're
100%.
we're gonna have to do more with Dom's stories down the road as time allows. So
my claim to fame is my Brad Marchand story.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Which one's that?
4 Nations. It's the pinned tweet on my X profile.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Now, before we get too far into Storyland here, let's get back to that power play.
Yeah, let's get back to the power play.
Dom, where did you want to go with the power play? I know, obviously, that the Hagens of it all was part of it.
Yeah, look, we were talking a bit about it before we came on. And I think the only thing we agreed to was that you can't have Hagens and Narvitson on the same one because they're the two that are accomplished zone entry guys.
Right.
And I think that's where we left it. So let's go from there.
My thought.
Where do you put him? Who do you put him with?
My thoughts was putting Arvidsson on PP1 and taking Lindholm off. Elias Lindholm.
Who's in the bumper then, though, Gayle?
Wouldn't Zaka work in the bumper? Oh, but then you'd have to take Zaka off it too. Never mind. That's the tough one because I said that I love Elias Lindholm in the bumper. But the problem that the Bruins have is they get stale with where Pastrnak is. They tend to score more when Pastrnak moves. But he tends to stay close to that circle. And when he gets close, when he stays in that circle, they block the path and the goaltender knows how to react. But if he's moving, it's harder to defend. But the problem is he's not carrying the puck into the zone.
Let me throw this one at you and tell me what you guys think. So you break up on the power play, you break up Pastrnak and you break up Geekie. And you have one on one, the other on two. And both are in the one-timer position. Now you decide which one do you put Arvidsson on, which one do you put Hagens on. Whichever one you put Hagens on, he can work the half wall and can feed the one-timers from there. He's capable of it.
Right.
Arvidsson, the same thing. And then mix and match from there.
I'd almost put Arvidsson with Pastrnak because Arvidsson will also drive to the front of the net, where Zaka will do that on PP2.
Okay.
But is the
so you have Arvidsson able to feed the puck, but also as soon as he releases that pass, driving to the front of the net for a possible rebound. He has that hockey IQ that he can do that. Does Hagen? I know that Hagens can feed the puck, but does he have the hockey IQ to then drive the net after he releases the pass? Chris is nodding his head yes.
From what I've seen, yeah, he has that IQ.
He's got the IQ. Whether I don't say what he probably has the strengths. What he has to do is out muscle now NHL defensemen to do that.
Yeah. Which Arvidsson
and is he ready for that?
Right, we know Arvidsson.
Arvidsson, yeah.
So would you rather try and get?
He's willing.
Would you try and get power play 1 because power play 2 has been scoring more than the PP 1?
Yeah.
Right, because now Zaka has more power play goals than Pastrnak does.
Yeah.
So if you need to get PP 1 going, wouldn't it make sense to put Arvidsson on that PP 1 with Pastrnak and, like you said, move Geekie to PP 2? But then you have Pastrnak, Lindholm, Arvidsson, Charlie McAvoy, and who's the other forward? Is it?
Well, Lori's out there on the second one. Or, sorry, the first one?
Yeah. You've got McAvoy at the back. And if you move Arvidsson and you swap him and Geekie, are you leaving Lindholm with Pastrnak and Arvidsson? I give that a look. And then on the second power play, you've got Geekie, Zaka, Hagens, Lori, and I would leave Hampus Lindholm on PP2. Go with 3 forwards and 2 defensemen because Lori can pinch down. And I think
Lindholm is the
better puck handler.
and Middlestat comes right off the power play.
I
I like Middlestat's puck
if you're putting
retrieval.
Hagens on there, I'm okay with Middlestat coming off.
I wonder how much you want to mess with the fact that Arvidsson, Middlestat, and Zaka have the chemistry that they have at 5-on-5, and what does that bring to a power play unit that they're all on together right now?
But that's not a
performing
power
well.
play unit. That's just their forward line. I mean, it's because you know who used to do that as well for the longest time? Claude Julien. He would roll out his lines and maybe mix and match the defenseman. That's not a power play unit. That's 5-on-5 hockey with the other team not having their fit. You know what I mean? That's not a power play unit. But having a power play unit is actually mixing up your personnel to finding the best ability of beating a team 5-on-4. That's always been my biggest gripe with the power play units in the past, is that it was literally a line and 2 defensemen. It's like that's not a power play unit.
Well, again, I'm talking about
I
just
actually
those.
like Middlestat's. I actually like Middlestat's puck retrieval on the PP.
Okay, so
Yeah.
who are you putting? So if you're putting Hagens on the second unit, are you then putting Hagens on the first unit and leaving Arvidsson on the second unit? Then who comes off the first unit? Are you just removing Geeky completely?
I'm removing one of the defensemen.
So you're going 4 forwards and 1 defenseman? I'm not confident with Lohrei being the only defenseman.
Would it make it Hampus?
I would put Hampus instead of Lohrei. If you're going to do that, PP1 has to be Charlie McAvoy and PP2 has to be Hampus Lindholm.
What you have to do in that situation is your goaltender, and I watch the London Knights do this all the time. Your goaltender has to give them a 5-second warning. And there's 5 seconds left on the PP. You start banging your stick. The closest forward to the bench goes for a change for the second defense.
Right.
5 seconds from anywhere in the ozone is enough time to make that swap.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I would rather than see Hampus Lindholm versus Lohrei then on that second power play unit. Yeah. I feel more confident with Hampus Lindholm if the puck comes out of the zone and it ends up being a breakaway for the, for the opposing team. I feel more confident with Hampus Lindholm than I do Mason Lohrei chasing that puck down.
That might change quick.
Whichever one works.
That might change quick. Mason Lohrei's been getting back and making some great D plays this year.
Just on that comment there, Bergeron's been there for a lot this season. The thing is, everybody found out because this one practice was at Warrior.
Right.
But he's there a lot at the practices that are at the TD Garden that is closed to both media and the public. And that's why nobody's really known about it until now. I mean, I forget which one it was. Mitten actually came out and said, yeah, he's been working with us all season.
Well,
so
Bergeron,
it's nice when he's
Bergeron, the first 2 seasons of the PWHL was down at the Sports Institute working with Boston's women's, their centers, working on face-offs with them. And that I know for a fact. That's not a rumor. I have sources. That is 100% true.
And you can tell,
because
just watch Fraser Mitten's face-offs from the beginning of the season till now. You see the difference in his style. And as Gayle said, he's been working with the ladies as well. And if you...
Dom.
His
name's still,
there he
I'm
is.
like, your name's still there, but you were gone.
We got him back.
What happened?
I mean, your picture left, but your name was still there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, if you watch them, whether it's the guys or the girls, from the start of the season to the end of the season. Watch their stance in the face-off circle. They're beginning to look a lot more and more like Patrice Bergeron when he took a face-off.
Kevin says so. Berkey has Mitten cheating on face-offs now. Hey, listen, as long as he's not getting thrown out of the face-off dot, cheat all you want.
Was that a sneeze, Dom, or a cough?
A sneeze.
God bless you.
Allergies are coming. So
And then Michael says first thing that needs to change on power play 1 is the compete level. Puck retrieval has been horrible.
so is zone entries, and that's something either Arvidsson or Hagens can fix.
Yeah, and I think retrieval of the puck would be a little easier if you could carry it into the zone better.
Especially if it's not the puck. I mean, I love David Pastrnak, but him bringing the puck into the zone on the power play never works.
It's atrocious. It really is. It's a giveaway waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Morgan Geeky's the other night.
Speaking of David Pastrnak,
Think, why do you think Hampus Lindholm has the green light to carry the puck and Charlie McAvoy does not?
Because he can actually do it.
Hampus doesn't use the reverse or the drop pass like Charlie McAvoy does. I shouldn't say he doesn't. It's nowhere near as frequent.
No. Speaking of Pastrnak and Charlie McAvoy, can we talk about their idiotic, stupid penalties in overtime?
Oh,
Chris texted me because I texted him and I put effing penalties, although I spelled out the word in all caps. And his response to me was, they can sit in the penalty box together and discuss who's going to be the next captain.
yeah.
That absolutely. I mean, Pastrnak's the hook. I almost get that one. You know what I mean? Because he's trying to prevent the breakaway. So he almost had to take the penalty, but he should have had faith that they were going to stop it and not, and I'm surprised it wasn't a penalty shot. Because it was a clear break.
You know what else Pastrnak has to do, Gayle, is stop his constant whining to the refs. It's one thing if it's the coach, but if you're a player, you're going to have calls go against you, and you're going to get a lot of non-calls, and that's what's happening to Pastrnak. He's got
last night's game, it wasn't on Nesson, right? Last night. No, which game was on TNT? Was that
last night?
Was that the Philadelphia game?
Sunday's game.
I think it was the Philly.
It was one game that it was like, they're like, and Pasternak's having a conversation with the ref, and I'm like, why? Because he was on the bench and he had his helmet off and he was talking to the ref, and it was it was last night's game because he got tripped up and then Morgan Geeky took that hit where he was down and Pastrnak was, and I'm like, and I get he's one of the alternate captains, but he literally was they just kept showing him talking to the ref, and I'm like, okay, you're not even on the ice. Can we move on now?
Yeah, we may not believe it, but the referee family is a very tight family and they all talk. And when you're constantly bitching at the referees, you're not going to get the calls, and you're going to get the calls go against you, and it's got to end.
Did I gotta ask though, Dom? Did you see the clip from I think it was the KHL of the captain going over to the ref?
Yes, I did.
Talking about Max Comtois. Talk about an interesting dynamic on a team. Like, that's the last thing you want to have. it's hilarious that it was caught on the hot mic. Gayle, did you see that clip?
Mm-mm.
I will have to send it to you, but he basically goes over to the ref and he's like, I know he's gonna bother you. We know he's gonna bother you. He bothers us too. Like, just don't call the game against us because of him.
Right.
And it's just an interesting dynamic because, like Dom was talking about, and you were saying, like the way Patra is, or not Patra, Pasternak is constantly going at the refs, looking for these calls, and you mentioned how close the officials are. It just seemed pretty fitting that that kind of clip comes out as well. So, but
So
yeah, I mean, they both have questions. I mean, when do we get a captain for next year, do you think?
I think Sturm wanted to, and he said it in his introductory press conference, that he needed the team to get its identity under him before he made a decision. I think that you're seeing, for a while, I was seeing Pasnak being the one coming out on top, and I'm now leaning towards McAvoy again. Like it's
Agreed.
hard because they both have their moments, but the Bruins notoriously have had more defensemen as captains than they've had forwards as captains.
Dom, do you see them going McAvoy over Pasternak at this point, or
If I was choosing right now, if it was up to me, gun to my head, Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah. I think McAvoy has matured a lot in this season. Even with his post-game press conferences, he's 100%. Where I remember interviewing him on breakup day, where he was not really acting like a leader, and he wasn't back then. But he seemed to keeps growing and growing and growing, not just on the ice as a leader, but in the locker room as well.
yeah, I can't agree more that they both have their moments, and it kind of goes back and forth. But I think to Dom's point, if you absolutely had to pick one right now, I'd probably also have to lean McAvoy myself. And Kevin says he's still on the pasta train and hasn't left it once, but it's just I feel like McAvoy does a little bit more to exemplify what you want the core of this team to be. That hard nose, just, yeah, sometimes things aren't going to go your way, but you're just going to get up and fight through it, whether it's losing some teeth or whatever.
Well,
So,
speaking of McAvoy, can we discuss the fact that he was nominated for the Masterson?
yeah.
Deserve it.
Yeah, I think he's the one who deserves it on the team. It'll
I
be
can't
tough
think
for
of
him to
anybody
win.
else on the team that's
I can't think of anyone else in the league.
Rasmus Dahlin, Jonathan Taves.
Mm-mm.
I
I
mean,
still say McAvoy.
Dahlin's got a damn good case for it.
But you got to remember, it's the writers. It's not their peers. It is the writers that decide this award.
That's why, if anything, I don't know if it helps his case or not, because the writers, what makes a better story? The guy who's lost a few teeth, or the guy whose fiance got a brand new heart?
But that's not him.
No,
That's
but
not him. Yes, he had outside stuff, but it wasn't him. He wasn't the one dealing. It wasn't him that got a brand new heart. It wasn't him
I
that
know.
was fighting back from injury after injury after injury.
No, but you know who it was? It was Jonathan Taves. So, there's another storied angle.
I mean,
Give the
we're
Right,
guy.
but it's
Well, you're
also
talking perseverance.
the perseverance is not just the teeth,
But
it's also the infection from last year. Because it's not just this season.
and it isn't with Taves either.
True. I don't know. I just feel that maybe it's because of the way McAvoy's injuries have been over the last season and a half have
Oh, I'm
been.
not saying he's not deserving of it.
No, but I'm saying personally for the writers
Yeah.
that the way they're seeing his story play out, that not only did he go from a season-ending injury to coming back to having more injuries to having the bubble, this, that, the other thing, and then his just this whole, and then putting up he's almost at his career numbers. That's the difference between him and Taves, I think.
Dom, you got any
It's going to be
any
interesting.
people? You got anyone that we're not thinking of?
No, they were the two. I mean, who was Ottawa's?
Linus.
Do you have the list in front of you? Was it?
Linus Olmark was it for Ottawa? I'm gonna try and pull up the whole list for you.
I got it right here.
Oh, okay.
Ville Husso from Anaheim, Charlie McAvoy, Rasmus Dahlin, Devin Cooley, Taylor Hall for Carolina, Spencer Knight for Chicago, Gabriel Landeskog for Colorado, Boone Jenner for Columbus, Jamie Benn for Dallas, Dominic Schein for Detroit, Connor Ingram for Edmonton, Brad Marchand for Florida, Anze Kopitar for LA, Jesper Wallstedt for Minnesota, Mike Matheson for Montreal, Ozzy Weisselbat for Nashville, Brendan Dillon, New Jersey, Kyle Palmieri for the Islanders, Matthew Robertson for the Rangers, Linus Ullmark for Ottawa, Garrett Wilson for Philadelphia, Anthony Mantha for Pittsburgh, Laurent Brousset for San Jose, Jordan Eberle for Seattle, Bennington for St. Louis, Darren Radish for Tampa Bay, Oliver Ekman-Larsson for Toronto, Clayton Keller for Utah, Kevin Lankinen for Vancouver, Akira Schmidt for Vegas, Alex Ovechkin for Washington, and Jonathan Taves for Winnipeg.
Ovechkin getting the nod is a joke.
Well, I mean, so isn't I thought, I mean, how are you giving it to Brad Marchand when he didn't even finish the season?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to McAvoy, Dahlin, and
Taves.
Taves.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the writers set a precedent and they want to give it to Ullmark because it's about mental health. And they're trying to clear that stigma.
Well, here's why I think it'll be Taves. And it's a shame because sometimes this is where the way the voting goes. Writers in the East are going to be split between McAvoy and Dahlin, and writers in the West, Jonathan Taves.
Yeah.
That's
Would make
my
sense
guess.
to see it that way. Let's see. Michael's got a good question here. Do the top teams in the Atlantic all play man-on-man in D-zone, or do some do hybrid, or do some simply do zone? Which do the Bruins forwards play best against?
No,
they don't all play man-on-man.
Doesn't Tampa still play this 3-2-3?
No, Tampa does a 1-3-1.
1-3-1.
But in the zone, no, they're mostly a zone defense. Well, I guess they're a bit of a hybrid too. which do the Bruins forwards play best against? Are we talking just the playoff teams? I would
I
imagine,
think so.
right?
Yeah, he mentions the top teams in the Atlantic, so I would say the top three that the Montreal, Tampa, Buffalo.
Okay, so that would be Bruins ozone then. Uh, I think they play best against Montreal. Problem with Montreal is in the D zone, the Bruins D zone.
Yeah, can you match up against them, right?
Yeah,
Jet says
you
Buffalo
don't
for
agree?
sure, which I don't know. I mean, you've played well against Buffalo. I mean, for how many years now? And even this year, you played them well. I just don't know if I think Montreal is going to be the one that poses the question. Now, I did see someone also ask if we're keeping an eye on the scores tonight. Right now, we got Buffalo up 2-1 over the Rangers, and that one
Good.
is a pure. And it's in the first intermission, and then the Capitals and the Maple Leafs are tied in the first period at 0.
But to answer that
Um,
question, which team the Bruins have the most success against in the ozone? It's Montreal. They can put a pounding on that defense and their smaller forwards. They can rip Montreal apart.
Yeah, Montreal is a team I don't think really would be excited to play Boston just because Montreal is not like they have some defenders who are physical, Jack-Eye, etc. But like overall, the forward group itself is not built to withstand what Boston can throw at them for 7 games. Physically, in my opinion, anyway. I think that, and then of course they have questions in net, but it does look like Dobish is taking that job and running with it right now. Fowler, I think, is going to be better in the long term, but Dobish is playing outstanding right now. Montreal wins 7-game series against Boston per Kevin, his opinion. I mean, I think it's one that would go 7. I think Boston can take any of these opponents deep into a series, and that bodes well better for Boston. The deeper a series goes. Um, I did want to circle back to one thing from when we were talking a bit about him when he was on the power play. And Gayle, I know we've talked a little bit about him. It was the re-signing comment that kind of partially triggered it. And I'm curious where you guys are both at when it comes to re-signing Victor Arvidsson right now.
We talked about this last week.
I know. I'm curious where Dom is at with it. Is
His
it
birthday
something that
today,
you?
right?
What's that?
Uh, yeah, absolutely. It's his birthday today, right?
Um, I don't know.
FYI, Hagens is wearing 44.
What?
Interesting.
Okay.
I can't find Arvidsson's date of birth. Oh
I'm
wait,
sure
nope,
it's
April
today.
8th. Yeah, it is today. So
Okay,
33
so how
today.
old is he now?
33.
I would I would re-sign him. I would go tops 3-year contract.
I said the same thing last week, I think.
People are going to be surprised at the money, but you got to remember the cap, by the time it gets to the third year, will be to 120 million bucks.
What's your cap number for him?
It's going to go. It's going to be around 5.5 to 6 million. The one I'm worried about is Pavel Zacha because he can resign July 1st as well. I think when it's all
Yeah.
said and done, he'll be the fourth highest paid player on the team behind Pasternak, McAvoy, Wayman.
That comment's for that look is for Kevin.
Well, why did you have to
Oh,
tell
okay.
me that? This is now your fault because
I said Hagens is 44.
10 is available, isn't it? That better change. Ew, why is he wearing 44?
You know
I do
what?
like Jets.
There, Kevin, I have to warn you. I have to warn you. Don't buy a jersey because the Bruins. There's there's a potential for Hagens to win or bonus this year if he wins the Conn Smythe Trophy. Um, so that means the Bruins will be in the Stanley Cup final. But don't buy the jersey because they're burning a year off his entry level contract. They have to find a way to make the money back up. So they're hoping people buy the 44 jersey this year, and they're going to switch it to 10 next year. So that people have to buy the jersey again.
Interesting way of thinking about it. That is definitely a Dom Tiano angle right there. uh
I wouldn't be
well, I
buying the
mean,
jersey just yet.
Jet says this is one comment I want to make. I can't tip. I want McDavid on Boston. I mean, I think everybody would want him. So, but I don't disagree with the Arvidsson re-sign. I was thinking about it the other day, and really, you don't have any right shot right wings. Dom, we've had this conversation over the last year and a half. And I think he builds that depth on the right side until you get someone who can come up. And I know people are going to say, Fabian Lysell and whatnot, but he hasn't done enough to break through.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned them because I have something coming out on the weekend about the Bruins draft this year. And it's funny because um, ago I said I wrote a piece and said to Bruins fans, you really got to start paying attention to Nikita Klepov of the Saginaw Spirits. And because nobody was talking about him with the Bruins pick, not the Leafs pick. And now there's beginning to get some talk about him. So interestingly enough, I've been talking to a few different scouts, none of them Bruins, about Klepov to Boston. And the general consensus among them is why would the Bruins draft him uh, with the way the Fabian Lysell pick played out? Just
Okay.
something to look forward because I took a deep dive into it and I'll have it out this weekend. But um,
But
I
I
think
think
we
a lot
should
of the
all be at the
Fabian
point.
Lysell, a lot of people forget too that he lost nearly a year with injuries. Right?
Not a full year. He missed some time, but
Right. And then
um,
they told him that offensively he had, but they needed him to work on his two-way game, and they gave him specific things to work on. And
right.
even now has said numerous times that one of the problems with Fabian Lysell is he can't get out of his own way.
Well,
In not so many words. I mean, he didn't say that, but not in so many words.
Fabian Lysell was given things to work on. His question to the Bruins is, and I don't want to do a deep dive into this because it's not fair to some people. Um, his reply to the Bruins was, "Okay, you want me to work on these things, but you're not putting me in the opportunities to work on these things. So how am I supposed to do that?"
Fair.
There, when you have a group of people that are running a show, in this instance, you've got Cam Neely, you got Don Sweeney, you got Evan Gold, all the way down to Adam McQuaid, the skills coaches, Ryan Muginel. There's a large group of people involved in this, maybe as high as 20. But when you have two or three or four of them that don't like you, and they're the ones responsible for putting you in the position to improve on what the other 16 people want you to work on, it's not fair to the kid.
Yeah.
Do I think his days in Boston are numbered? Yes, I think he's done. Um, been treated fairly by the majority of the organization, yes.
Yeah.
Um, but that's not on the kid, and that's not on everybody in the organization.
Yeah,
You can
it's
just
it's
look at the
certainly going to be.
management team.
Go
The
ahead.
management team, they all played hockey. Management team in Boston, they all played hockey. They were all professional hockey players. You can tell who fits the mold of Fabian Lysell or whose mold Fabian Lysell
We lost Dom
Whoop.
again.
Oh,
lost
there he
you.
is. He's back again.
So you can tell who in the organization Fabian Lysell is like and who he is not like.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how that whole thing comes to fruition at the end of the day because, they're still going to hold his RFA rights until he's traded or they just let him walk, which it's going to be tenuous, we'll say. Um, I'm keeping an eye on the time here. Um, Gayle, did you have anything that you wanted to go over with the fleet before I
They
forget?
won again last night. 5-1. And Aaron Frankel again was in net. And they have their game at the Garden on Saturday, which is going to be huge because the Bruins play the matinee game against Tampa, and then the Fleet play that night against Montreal. Huge game.
Dom, how's
And if
the,
you're
the
in
coverage?
Canada,
Yeah.
Huh?
if you're in Canada, so you'll get to watch the Bruins game in the afternoon on Sportsnet Plus, and then the Fleet game will be on. If you're streaming, it'll be on Gem, and then CBC is carrying it on one of their stations, so you'll get to see it. Anyway, sorry, go on, Gail.
No, and if you're in the United States, you can catch it on the league's YouTube channel for free. You don't have to be a subscriber to YouTube TV or anything. And I believe it should be on Nesson Plus. It depends on where the Red Sox are playing.
Of course. Because that app is
But I
I'm
mean,
looking
they were
forward
the
to.
first. They were the first team to clinch their playoff spot. Right now, they're trailing Montreal by 1 point, but they also have a game in hand. So, for the
I'm
top
looking
spot.
forward to the the expansion announcements this year, next year, and I'm looking forward to their European tour. I know they said that it's not in the plans right now, but they are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean the expansion. I'm nervous about the expansion, because I think it's going to be 4
Why?
teams at once. Because the league wants to get
And
to
that worked
12.
before. Oh, and you're worried
But
about
instead of going
diluting the
2 and
talent?
2, they're going to go all 4, and I'm nervous about that.
That's understandable.
The other thing is too is once they get to 12, they're probably going to go to individual franchises versus the league owning the teams, which would make things very interesting, but it also is it's definitely it's going to be a challenge if they explode to 12 teams this off season, because they have to change the way they did the expansion draft, because it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work because how does it? I mean, Boston could only protect 3 players, which means they had to choose from the world's best goaltender, their captain, one of the best defensemen, and arguably one of the most explosive forwards. So they lost their captain in the first round of the expansion draft. And they weren't the only team that was gutted like that. You know, there were a lot of teams that got gutted, and a lot of players took offense to the fact that their teams didn't protect them. It's not like the NHL where who is the last expansion team? Seattle, right? My brain, no, Utah. I don't know.
Yeah.
My brain's not working. But it's not like the NHL where they basically gave a list of players. These are the 3 players you can choose from. It wasn't like that in the PWHL. It was more like these are the only 3 players you can't pick.
Yeah.
So if they do it that way again, the teams are going to lose. Like they're going to, and I get that they want to give the expansion teams a leg up, but it's still not. Yeah.
Sorry, Jets comments. The Leafs failed at that. Among many things, the Leafs have failed at.
No.
Protecting players. And Dom, Kevin wants to know when you're sending him his jersey, which you had mentioned that you have a jersey to give away for some folks.
I don't know. You'll be entered into a draw, Kevin. It'll be announced tomorrow.
All right. Do you have a time tomorrow that we should all be keeping an eye out for that announcement?
I don't know. When I get the grandkids settled down, and I got, I think, 100 more names to enter into that random selector thing, and then make the draw and announce it sometime in the afternoon.
Awesome. Well,
Sometime in the afternoon.
everyone has the same odds. Good luck to everyone who's in on that. And hopefully it goes to someone who's deserving is the best way to put it.
So not Kevin?
That's not for me to say.
What you
I'll let
Jet, can you bring up Jet's last comment?
Oop, this one here, just on this channel today. We're awesome. Oh, thanks, Jet. Give us a follow.
Well, not only are we excited that you found us, but you're very interactive, so we appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Okay, just for Jet. Jet, are you a Bruins fan? Can you answer that real quick?
And while we wait, Kevin says, Dom, I will come to Canada and slap you with a piece of bacon if you give that jersey to someone other than your grandchildren or me.
Kevin, just for that comment, Dom should definitely give it to someone else.
Why a piece of bacon? Why are you going to slap him with a piece of bacon?
Because he thinks that's all we eat in Canada. Are you going to put maple syrup on it, Kevin? Okay, so
Jet
Jet,
says,
I Okay. So, can I tell the Dougie Hamilton story?
Oh yes.
I have no
Okay.
idea why Dougie Hamilton blocked me, but he did.
This
Did
might
he?
give
I'll
you a
find
little
why.
insight.
Do you follow me? That's probably why. Okay, so um, when the Bruins drafted Dougie Hamilton, first thing I tweeted out was he will never ever sign a second contract with the Boston Bruins. And he never did, as we all know. Here's my story, Dougie Hamilton. He was playing for the Niagara Ice Dogs in the Ontario Hockey League. Him and his brother. Um, at the time, Marty Williamson, no, wasn't Marty. Maybe it was Marty Williamson, the head coach and general manager. Um, they didn't have a captain; they had co-captains. And one night I was at their game. They got blown out. Go down to the dressing rooms for interviews after the game. Niagara's is closed. They were having closed door meeting, players only. And then after they opened the doors, we were only allowed in there for 5 minutes. Okay. I knew one of the captains as to what was going on. Um, so after the loss, they were sitting there in their closed door meeting, and an argument broke out that almost turned into a fist fight between Dougie Hamilton and his brother Freddie. Freddie was a round pick in the NHL draft the year before, I believe. They got into an argument about a play, and Dougie said to his brother, "I'm a first round pick. What are you?" And that's when all broke loose. Ryan Strome was also in it. They broke it up. Dougie Hamilton was told by one of the captains to shut his mouth, never to open his mouth again unless he was given permission to speak in that dressing room from now on. It was towards the end of the season. Uh, Coach walked in, said what's going on. They explained it to him, and the very next day they had a trade worked out with Sudbury that fell through because they got wind of what happened and decided not to go through with the deal. And you wonder why people say Dougie Hamilton has character issues.
I
There
do
you
want
go.
to give
That's my Dougie Hamilton
quick.
story.
I do want to give a quick shout out. We have Court Lalonde jumping in from Bruins Diehards as well. This is not the first comment that people have made on your mustache there, Dom. I do have to point that out. So,
Well, I was hoping he wasn't talking about mine.
I'll have to go back and look at it.
but shout out to Court, does a great job over on the Bruins Die Hard YouTube channel. Is producing a lot of great videos and interviews and content over there. Definitely worth a check out over there as well. Um, yeah,
I have to go watch the rest of his pod from today because I only got halfway through it.
it's a good one. It's a good one. So, do either of you guys, now that I'm, we're getting closer to that 2 hour mark. So, do either of you guys have any other final discussion points, conversation topics, anything like that? Whether it's the Fleet, the Bruins, anything else around the world of hockey that we've seen, as we've seen, president of hockey ops changes, GM changes, coaches changes, anything like that as the season is winding down.
Just a reminder, I won't be here next week.
Yes. I'm
Not
working
only is
on,
it tax day, but the Fleet are playing, so
yes.
I'll be at the Fleet.
I'm working on a few things to try and do something there. If not, maybe we have to explore Thursday or just a week off. So we'll see
Um,
what
Have Court on. Court
I
on.
I, I would love to. If Court can answer in the question in the comments if he's available, then saves me from having to message him. But I will certainly message him to see if he can.
Have Kevin
Okay.
on.
I
Kevin's
mean,
got to
'cause
come
the
smack
thing
you with bacon. Dom, did you have any other thoughts or anything that you wanted to bring up, Bruins or otherwise?
Just wish Victor Robertson a happy birthday. Wish
am I the
James
only one
Hagens
that
a happy
isn't here?
birthday.
Oh, that's right. Court is in Hawaii next week. He did mention that on his show, so he can't do it next week. Uh,
Why is he going to Hawaii when there's no snow? He's going
It
to like
snowed
December
here
when it's
yesterday. It
not
literally
here.
snowed here in New Hampshire yesterday.
yeah, we got some today, yesterday, whatever day it was. Yeah. And yes, Jet, the all of the shows are available on our YouTube channel. They are stored there, and then they also get released as a podcast, usually within 24 hours. That is the goal, but it does not always happen that way.
Just
Um,
disregard the beginning because he hasn't changed the introduction yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I
Yeah,
say
that
that out loud?
introduction was a video I made 2 years ago. None of those players on there are on the team anymore.
I mean, at least Patra's still in the organization and Elias Lindholm. But
Yeah,
other than that, there's no one. I mean, Waterspoon, not there. Johnny Beecher, not there.
Coyle,
Charlie Coyle, not there.
Frederick.
Brad Marchand, not there. Even
I
Jack Edwards, not there.
got a lot going on. All right, I'm working on it.
You're not working.
I've got a lot going on health wise that has made me not be working. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. It's not just going to happen in one day. I'm open to help. If someone wants to help and send some stuff my way, I will incorporate it. But I'm working on it. All right.
I know.
Or
I'm
we
still
could just
working
go to
on the
having nothing
website.
there. Or we could just go to having no introduction video and be boring. So, anyway, Dom, thank you so much for jumping on. I know it's a rarity that you don't have the grandkids, so we appreciate any time that you can jump on. You know you're always welcome here.
Especially now that you're
Okay,
going to be in retirement.
Oh yeah, well, we start doing one in the morning.
We'll
My
talk about it.
my grandson loves it when Gayle makes hearts because he thinks they're for him.
Oh.
That's cute.
Listen,
"Grandpa,
my
Grandpa."
schedule's changing soon. So I have early days coming up, so we could do it earlier.
We can explore some of those
After
options for sure.
after April 15th, after tax day, my schedule changes.
We got the off
Your
season
tax
coming
day
up.
is
There's a
April
lot.
15th.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, US
Your
tax day
tax-
is April 15th.
I got till the end of April
No,
I don't
we're
care,
April 15th.
because I owe them money.
So a week from today, I will no longer be going insane.
There we go. With that, again, thank you, Dom, and congratulations on the retirement.
Kevin, I have kids, you jackass.
I love how he uses Matty Patra as the reason why you don't like kids.
My daughter's
So-
going to take offense to that comment. She loves me.
Maybe she can slap him with the same bacon that he's bringing up to slap Dom.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. Well,
It's
with
maple syrup.
Yeah.
that, all over. Yep.
Yep.
With that, though, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. New, old viewers, everybody. Thanks for all the comments. That's what makes it great. And Dom, thank you again for joining us today. And until next time,
My pleasure.
go
It was
Bees.
fun.